talk about food security, something that this community and of course our entire country is struggling with. Alors aujourd'hui, après la conférence de presse, je vais visiter un de nos centres où il y a une distribution d'aliments pour les membres de la communauté. Ici, nous sommes dans un quartier de faible revenu où il y a beaucoup de gens qui dépendent sur la distribution d'aliments, surtout pendant la pandémie. Before beginning with my remarks today on food security, I did just want to highlight a tweet that I put out earlier and come back again to what I have been saying repeatedly during our campaign and repeatedly during my time as a leader, which is that if we want good people who are committed to public service and to being of service and to offering their experience and their talent to tackling the big challenges and the big ideas and the big opportunities that Canada has, then we need to make politics a more welcoming place. Part of making politics a more welcoming place is to ensure that everyone involved in the political process is responsible for their words, is careful with their words, and doesn't do anything to sow division or to create a misapprehension or misrepresentation when it's at all possible. In the case of an article that was printed today in La Presse online, I don't know if it's in the print edition, it was said that I could not name one single Green Party candidate in Quebec. Now, of course, this is ridiculous. I recently appointed Quebec candidates to my shadow cabinet. I was in contact with those members as recently as yesterday. The idea that someone in my position, in my role, could not name any candidates from Quebec is offensive. And we did ask the journalist concerned to retract that. She has not. The newspaper has not. And I think that really is a shame. I have a very high threshold, and I believe that journalists and the media have a very important role to play in our democracy in elections and campaigns, but it is important to do that with integrity, and in this case I do not believe that the journalistic standards that one should reasonably expect, were followed. And so I hope that there will be a retraction, or I hope that the transcript of our call will be published. There is a recording of it. We don't have it, but the journalist does. What I did say is that every single one of our candidates in Quebec is a star. And that I wasn't going to single out any particular candidate because I appreciated the investment and their time and the passion that they have brought to their campaigns. And so if I was going to name any star candidates, I would name them all. And I thank them again. Alors en français, parce que c'était un journal français, c'est très important, et comme j'ai dit souvent pendant la campagne et même avant la campagne, pendant mon période comme chef du Parti Vert du Canada, si on veut attirer le meilleur talent aux politiques, si on veut assurer que les meilleures idées soient là au Parlement et qui soient là autour du table, quand on considère les grands enjeux, quand on considère les défis, comment lutter contre les grands défis et comment profiter des opportunités, il faut que notre vie politique soit plus accueillante. Et malheureusement, pour l'instant, ce n'est pas suffisamment. Tout le monde a un rôle à jouer, les partis politiques, les politiciens, mais aussi le média aussi. Moi, j'ai une très haute tolérance. Je sais que le média a un rôle énormément important à jouer pendant les élections. Je le respecte et j'accepte que pas tout le reportage sur moi va être positif, mais ça doit être honnête. Alors, quand la presse aujourd'hui a dit que moi, en tant que chef du Parti Vert, n'étais pas capable de nommer aucun candidat ou candidate vert au Québec, ça suffit. Hein? J'ai un nombre de candidats provenant de Québec dans mon cabinet fantôme. Je suis en régulier contact avec eux. J'étais en contact avec eux hier. Alors l'idée de quelqu'un dans ma position ne peut pas nommer aucun candidat ou candidate québécois ou québécoise est ridicule. Nous avons demandé à la presse de corriger l'erreur. Ils insistent qu'ils ne vont pas le faire. Et je dis que ce type de mésinformation, de désinformation, que ça limite notre progrès politique. C'est quelque chose qui compromet la possibilité d'attirer à des bonnes personnes qui ne veulent pas voir leur caractère assassiné dans la presse. Alors, tout le monde doit faire mieux. On doit travailler ensemble vers ce but. And so I know that's taken up a lot of time, but I'm going to draw our attention to two particular things related to food security. One is the national element and one is the local element. So the first thing to remember is that food security is national security. And we learned this the hard way during the early days of the pandemic when many areas in our country were at risk of running out of food supplies. We know whether it's 3 days or 4 days or 7 days that places like Vancouver Island, for instance, who import 85% of their food are at risk should there ever be any interruption in global supply chains in ensuring their food security. One of the most important responsibilities of any national government is to ensure the security of its people, and of course food security has to be part of that. And so an over-reliance on global supply chains will necessarily mean that there is a compromise, there is a threat to our sovereignty and our national security. Canada has a relatively small population given its size, but we are the sixth largest importer of food and the number one per capita food importer in the world. This is the time for us to talk about how we are going to ensure food security here, how we are going to ensure that we grow enough food in our own country to ensure the needs of our own people during times of crisis, but also outside of those times as well. And so the Green Party is calling for us to replace 1/3 of our imports with domestic production. We believe that this is possible. We believe that in doing so, we bring at least $15 billion worth of food production dollars back into our country. That will help to foster economic diversification and rural revitalization where it is needed most. We also want to work with the provinces in creating land trusts. We want to support research and development and investments in local markets. We want to see urban agriculture increase and to ensure access to local food. We believe in protecting our supply management system. At the same time, we also believe that there is a way to allow small-scale production for local markets without compromising that system. And we also have to ensure that our international trade barriers, interprovincial trade barriers, which are preventing Canadians from feeding people across Canada, that those continue to be brought down, to be reduced. Et sur la sécurité personnelle, la sécurité alimentaire personnelle, on sait que dans un sondage du gouvernement, presque 15% des personnes ont indiqué qu'ils vivaient dans une famille où ils n'avaient pas suffisamment d'accès à l'alimentation, où la sécurité alimentaire était un problème. We've seen that there has been a spike in food prices, inflation is on the rise, and this is a problem for families in Canada who were already vulnerable before the election, who are already struggling to make ends meet, many of whom live in the community that we find ourselves in today. Alors, nous avons un plus grand défi face à la pandémie. Nous avons des gens qui étaient dans une insécurité alimentaire et ils sont encore dans une insécurité alimentaire. On doit se préoccuper d'eux, on doit leur soigner. And so what are some of the solutions? We have spoken about them for years, we will speak about them again, and we will remember that things are interconnected. A guaranteed livable income for all, universal pharmacare, universal childcare, affordable housing, All of the building blocks for a life with dignity will ensure that there is more food security for those who need it the most. Alors, si on peut créer une vie digne avec les éléments de base, un revenu minimum garanti, une assurance médicaments universelle, accès aux garderies universelles et logement abordable, ça va très loin à assurer que tout le monde peut vivre dans une sécurité alimentaire. And as always, I invite the cameras, I invite those who are with us today, those who are able to just walk 10 minutes down the road from here. And on many days of the week, you will see a lineup around for the food banks that wraps around the corner. This is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and this is one of the wealthiest cities in the world, and we still have people who don't know where their next meal is coming from. That is unacceptable. We have everything we need to change that. Let's get to work together on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. We will now go to questions online. On va commencer avec des questions sur Zoom. If you have a question, please use the raised hand feature so we can see that you have a question. S'il vous plaît, si vous avez une question, s'il vous plaît, utilisez la fonction de lever la main. Merci. Do we have any questions? No questions. Il n'y a pas de questions, Madame Paul. No questions for Ms. Paul.
Okay, bon, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us today. Merci beaucoup d'être avec nous aujourd'hui.
Wait. Too late.
This concludes our press conference for today.